evening. Thank you for being here. So today at approximately shortly after 10 p.m., what happened was the police responded to a 911 call for sounds of gunshots. Upon police arrival, there was a suspect who police had identified as suspect at that particular point in time. There was an exchange of gunfire, and I can tell you right now that as a result of this, approximately 15 people have been hit with gunfire. 14 are not, let me take that back. There are 15 in total. One is the alleged suspect. The other 14 are victims. I can tell you that one has succumbed to their injuries at this point in time. A young girl is in critical state right now, and the other 13 are in hospital and being treated. The investigation is ongoing right now. Sorry for the delay, but due to the magnitude of the particular crime scene, because it covered a bit of distance, we want to make sure that we take every precaution necessary to ensure that the environment is safe. I can tell you that it's early in the investigation. The biggest reason that I'm here is I'm making an appeal. We're looking for anyone that saw anything, and this is critical because what happens is a lot of times people will tend to vet out their information when in fact it can be extremely important to our investigation. So if anybody saw anything at any time here at Danforth and Logan going west towards Broadview, if they could please contact the police at 416-808-2222 or call Crime Stoppers. If you have any dash cams and you're in the area, if you're on Danforth, please give us a call so we can extract that evidence. It's very crucial for us to put all of these pieces together to figure out exactly what happened so that we can resolve this investigation to its fullest, so we can fully comprehend exactly what happened today. I can tell you right now that there is nothing that seems to, because it's early, we don't have a lot of what has caused the motivation of this, and we are actively investigating that right now. So the appeal to the public, if you do have any information or if you do have any knowledge of why this may have occurred, to please give us a call and help us out to help resolve this as soon as possible.
Chief, why the detonation?
Sorry. Your question?
If you wouldn't mind, because some of us are rushing to get here, if you wouldn't mind just recapping from the top.
Oh, that's not going to happen. Sorry.
Why the detonation? Tell us about the suspect. How did the suspect
we err on the side of caution whenever we have anything. We try to treat this like a jigsaw puzzle, and we want to make sure that we maximize safety of the public, safety of the first responders that are here on scene. So anytime we have anything that even remotely looks innocuous, we'll err on the side of caution. And if we see things that we may need to disrupt, then we will disrupt it. It's more precautionary, nothing more, nothing less.
Chief, the only person dead, that's the shooter, correct? And one girl in critical condition?
No, we have, other than the shooter, we have a young lady that is deceased right now, and we have a young girl, I believe 8 or 9 years old, that is in critical state at this point in time.
Can you tell us how the suspect died?
Sorry?
Can you tell us how the shooter died?
No, it appears that it may be gunshot wounds, and the post-mortem will determine that. I wasn't there, we don't know. We're trying to descale it to the best of our ability to make sure that we're accurate with exactly what happened. I can tell you there was an exchange of gunfire. I'm glad that my officers are safe, and I'm glad that it is resolved. I'm not happy that we have quite a few people that have been victims of gunplay, which is why we have so many resources that are here right now. But as we start to unfold the investigation, hopefully we'll have a better understanding of what motivated this to happen, and try to do our best to inform the public.
Chief Saunders, a few days ago, you rolled out the program to have more officers on the streets of Toronto. 200 more officers. Were some in this area at the time of the shooting?
No, absolutely. The response was fairly quick. The resources, as you can see, are here. We have the command post. We worked with first responders. Toronto Fire was excellent working with us, as well as the Toronto paramedics. And the resource issue was not an issue at all. It worked to our advantage.
Can you confirm with us one more time how many people were shot, and can you repeat the nature of their injuries, including information about the suspect?
Well, all is as a result of gunfire, and it's a total of 15, including the suspect, or the alleged suspect, and 14 others. One of those 14 is deceased, one is critical, and the others are being treated right now.
What do you know about this
suspect, Chief?
Nothing at this point in time. That's why I'm here. I'm asking for that appeal. If anybody may know, homicide is here, and they're taking lead of the investigation, as well as a lot of specialized resources that are here as well too. I certainly have the resources to try to figure out exactly what happened. It's going to take some time, and as we unfold, when we can provide more information, we definitely will. But right now, it's important that we don't speculate, and we try to figure this thing out to the best of our ability.
But was there a timeline from beginning to the end, from the beginning of the shooting to the end? Can you give us a timeline?
No, I can tell you it was shortly after 10. It was not that long after, but either way, this is not a. I'm not going to get into the minutiae
Was he
of
on
this
the street or
investigation.
going into
If a question,
restaurants?
Wendy?
Do you know what kind of handgun was used? Gun was used? Was it a handgun?
It was a handgun, yes.
Are you looking into terror at all at this point?
What's that?
Are you looking into terror?
I'm
as a
keeping
possible
everything
motive?
open. I'm looking at absolutely every single possible motive for this. I mean, when you have this many people that are struck by gunfire, it's a grave concern. I certainly want to find out exactly what it is, and so I'm not closing any doors or any chapters on this, and I certainly don't want to speculate as well too. So once we have a better concrete picture of exactly what happened and what the motivation was behind it, we definitely will be having a further conversation on that.
But you are calling it a random shooting?
No, I'm not calling it random. This person was here, and he definitely shot. I don't know why he did what he did. He won't be able to tell us because he is deceased. But I can tell you, as law enforcement, it's important for us to try to break it down, right down to the minutiae, to figure out exactly what happened and why it happened. More importantly,
There is video and pictures of this alleged suspect out there. Are you guys looking into that sort of thing?
That's exactly what we do. Yeah, we look at every aspect. We've got numerous witnesses that are here, but you know what? I'm not going to close the door, and I don't want people that are sitting there thinking, well, because you have witnesses, I don't need to help. You may have that piece that is critical to give us that full picture. We are looking at technology, so any types of cameras that are going to be available, dash cams that may be in the neighborhood. It's on the Danforth, one of the busiest streets in the country. So I'm hoping that there are more avenues and more opportunities for us to get those small pieces of the puzzle to help us try to figure out exactly what happened. I'll take two more questions.
Can you
and I'd
speak
like
to
the
the
mayor
response here when we
speak.
got here? We noticed obviously a huge police presence. We know there are an additional 200 officers now deploying the streets from 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. Can you speak to us about the numbers and how police responded tonight?
Well, I thought that I answered that in the sense that we had lots of resources that were able to respond to it. So I don't have any issues with the response. I'm grateful that the officers that did respond, the first ones on scene, are not in harm's way. They were put in harm's way. This could have been a completely different story, but at the same token, I have victims, and I have concerns about that, and I have other people who are shot, and so. It certainly is not a day that I'm happy. I know that it could have been worse, but I'm glad that the officers responded, and I believe that with their quick response, it was able to resolve the situation much quicker had we taken more time to get to the scene. One more question. You've asked a lot. I'm going to ask this gentleman.
Was the city on any sort of alert, like we were in the last week before, with any identified threats against the city? Was there anything to indicate that something might have been going on?
No, there's nothing that gave me anything that would be considered credible. We're living in a different time right now, and we've got 2.8 million people in the city of Toronto, the largest city, fourth largest in North America. When you look at the global footprint of some of the issues and pressures that are occurring, especially when it comes to motivations for doing things, it is a concern, and we know that urban cities are much more vulnerable than much smaller type of entities. I can tell you that we do have resources that investigate this on a day-to-day basis, from an intelligence perspective, from an operational perspective. This is something that we look at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I want the public to be reassured that it's not reactive. We always have a plan in play, always behind the scenes, always working, and it's not that we sit back and wait for things to happen. We've disrupted in the past, we'll continue to disrupt in the future, but just bearing in mind that it is a different world that we live in, and I would always ask for vigilance. If anyone sees anything that is of concern, to give us a call and make us aware, and we'll do what we need to do as law enforcement. Mr. Mayor?
I'm here tonight, and I'm here with colleagues, Councillor Mary Fragadakis and Councillor Paula Fletcher, who represent this area, to, of course, be supportive of the chief and the police and the other first responders as they do their job, but also to make sure that we really reflect the horror that we all feel about this happening anywhere in the city, but happening here in a very peaceful part of the Danforth. And I want to just reiterate a couple of things that the chief said. First of all, people should not reach any conclusions because the police themselves have not drawn any conclusions as to exactly what happened here and why. And I certainly have confidence, as I'm sure the people of Toronto do, that our police chief and all of his men and women will get to the bottom of this and determine what happened here. It is a city, a global city, where lots of things are unfortunately going to be things that are a possibility here, but they're going to investigate all of that and report back to us, I'm sure, as soon as they possibly can. The second thing I want to reiterate is a request to the people of Toronto to help. There were many people here tonight, and some understandably may have left in a hurry and not realize they saw something that could be of use to the police as they investigate. And so I hope they will be in touch with the police or Crime Stoppers and pass on any information they have, no matter how trivial it might seem to be, including anything that they took into their cameras or otherwise on other kinds of technology, because every little bit of information is going to help the police to do their job. And the third thing I would just ask of the people of Toronto is this. Please don't draw any conclusions. Please wait for the police to do their job. They have plenty of police resources here. They were here quickly, and other first responders. And I should add a word of thanks on behalf of the people of the City of Toronto and myself as mayor for the excellent job that was done in horrible circumstances by the paramedics and, of course, by the police. Anytime there are any victims, death or injury, this is a terrible matter for the city, but they responded quickly and they've responded professionally, as they always do. And finally, I just want to say to the families of those who we lost tonight, and to the families of those who were injured, that they have our thoughts and prayers are with them, to hopefully for those who are recovering, that they will recover, and for those who've lost someone, I just extend the deepest condolences on behalf of all of the people, I'm sure, of the City of Toronto.
Mayor Tory, we're coming off of a tragedy not that long ago with the van attack. What are you going to say to people who are just recovering from something like that?
It's almost inconceivable these kinds of things can happen. We were so used to living in a city where these things didn't happen, and as we saw them going on in the world around us, that we thought they didn't happen here, or couldn't, or shouldn't. And I can just say to people that they should try to stay calm while the police do their job, because we have to figure out what happened here. We don't know. It's a tragedy any which way you look at it, but try to remain calm and have confidence, as I do, in the chief of police and in the men and women who serve him, and all of our other first responders who will be a part of investigating this. And please help in any way that you can, and please just comfort your fellow Torontonian that these things, you can never brush them away, and I'm angry about them. I mean, I'm angry when these kinds of things happen in the city, and lots of people will be angry, but it's most important that we should just let the police do their work, help the police in any way that we can, and reassure each other that we still live in a great city, but that we have to be ever more vigilant about these kinds of things that happen in big cities. It never excuses it, it never makes it better, but we just have to make sure we comfort each other that we're very blessed to live in a very safe place and a very fortunate place in many respects. But there are things that happen nowadays, and they're just unspeakable and they're incomprehensible, and there's nothing more I can say than that.
I mean, there's been so many conversations about gun violence specifically here in the city, many saying Toronto now has a gun problem, and then you see something like this. What is your reaction to that part of the conversation? Many hoping that they could curb the violence, and then we see something like this tonight.
Well, we'll see what this is all about and what led to this happening, and that's the work that the chief of police and his men and women are going to do. And so that's why I say we shouldn't draw any conclusions. But if you want me to draw one with respect to whether we have a gun problem, I've said for some time now, going back months, even to last year, I spoke at a forum convened by the federal government. We have a gun problem in that guns are too readily available to too many people. In fact, the only people that really are supposed to have them are the police and very limited numbers of other people. And that is clearly not the case, and that is a problem that is international, and it's a problem that's domestic. And we clearly have to do more about it, because there are too many people carrying around guns and using them in whatever manner they use them in whatever connection. And that's part of what we shouldn't conclude here, just that there was a gun used. And so we have a gun problem, and I just hope every step is going to be taken by all those who have responsibility. The police are doing their best, but they operate under extraordinarily difficult circumstances in terms of trying to deal with these guns. And but we'll see what they conclude in this case. But it's evidence of a gun problem, clearly. Thank you very much.
Mayor, has the SIU been called in?
I can't answer that question.